We're Def Leppard. There's only one way to hear us right on MTV. In stereo. Stay tuned for details.
MTV came out, we embraced it fully. We said, no, we're more Duran Duran than we are Black Sabbath.
I know bands, all they wanted to do was get a video on MTV.
Heavy metal never got the respect it deserves. It's probably what makes it so near and dear to the people who love it.
The story of metal continues tonight at 9. I don't know what only on VH1.
The explosion of heavy metal really did have a lot to do with the advent of videos on television. Heavy metal was a natural fit for rock video because of its emphasis on the visual.
MTV first hit the airwaves August 1st, 1981.
I'm Mark Goodman.
I'm Alan Hubbard.
I'm Martha Quinn.
I'm JJ Jackson.
And Nina Blackwood. MTV was the national radio station. I mean, people tuned in to MTV to see the new bands.
Here you had a visual medium that was looking for something to put on the screen. And Supertramp and Joe Jackson just weren't doing it. As a matter of fact, that was the end of their careers. People got to look at them and said, oh my God, put the camera back on Joe Jackson's shoes. We would give it a show and visually driven without the video cameras on. So MTV said, well, this is ready-made.
I would say the first band that got airplay on MTV that really broke out, that is considered in the quote-unquote heavy metal genre, would be Def Leppard.
MTV Def Leppard interview 22/12/1982.
Following the footsteps of Iron Maiden, Def Leppard was the next big act in the new wave of British heavy metal. But they also had the flair and good looks of Van Halen. It was the perfect combination for the fledgling MTV.
We weren't like Black Sabbath or Maiden. We felt it was more like, say, AC/DC or even more like the Stones. Nothing to do with metal at all, really, except the fact that we played loud electric guitars. You know, MTV came out, we embraced it fully. I know there were some bands that go, oh no, we're radio bands and we're going to stick to our chord. We said, no, we're more Duran Duran than we are Black Sabbath.
1981's High and Dry was Leppard's first stab at a more mainstream sound, which they gained by leaving their Sheffield, England home and starting a collaboration with AC/DC producer Mutt Lange, who had even bigger ideas for the band's next album.
Mutt Lange, who was our producer, said we should make an album that does open doors and that is different.
We had a piece of paper stuck on the wall in the studio where everybody wrote down titles.
Yeah.
Occasionally we got a couple of serious ones. We were trying to make something that was like Star Wars for the ears, you know. Mutt being the musical equivalent of Steven Spielberg. That's basically what we did. Pyromania was one of the serious ones, and everybody seemed to like it. And he did have a good image. It's a great word. I mean, I didn't even know what it meant when I first read it. I do now.
Pyromania was one of the first pop metal records, which had more of a melodic pop sensibility. Like, I remember the song that came out right before Pyromania, and it was just Joe Elliott walking around a house going, man, my wine! And then the next thing was Photograph.
Photograph came out, MTV started playing it, and it just went through the roof.
They were certainly being marketed as kind of like the young, pretty boys from England, and it wasn't all about denim and leather. It was a little lighter than that.
Just before that tour kicked off, Joe and Rick went down Kensington Market, and Rick Allen bought these little shorts with a Union Jack on. Joe bought this t-shirt, and during the Pyromania tour, we ended up selling the t-shirts because it became such a popular thing, the Union Jack.
Yes, they were good looking. Yes, they looked fantastic in those little British flag shorts. The stars were in alignment, but
We wouldn't be talking about them now if they looked good and they had good videos and the songs were lame.
It was just amazing the way the stuff sounded. It was like just so polished. The records up to that point didn't have that finesse. Just hook after hook after hook. You know, you had a guitar hook. The melody and the verse is a hook. And the B section's a hook. And the chorus, like, oh my God, okay, God, pull these hooks out of me. There was metal fans that would buy about 2 million albums. And it was basically like an Aussie audience, and that was kind of hard rock. And if you crossed over into pop, which is what we did, that's when the humongous record sales started coming in. We actually went top 40. It wasn't just rock. It was rock plus.
Def Leppard's success raised the bar. Pyromania was the second best-selling album for all of 1983, behind only Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Pyromania helped to define the 1980s, possibly like no other album. I think a lot of bands saw Def Leppard and the formula they had of making these music videos, starting to incorporate some conceptual elements into them and tried to emulate the template. You know, you look at someone like Ozzy, and here's the Prince of Darkness running around in sequins and eyeliner and hair poofed out to here. Judas Priest started putting color in their black leather.
A lot of the bands took their influence from other classic, heavy, really heavy metal bands and then lightened it up for commerciality, for MTV. That's all they wanted to do, was get a video on MTV.